Well, hello all. It is good to be with you today. So let's get started on the 51st Roundtable. I'm your host, Tom Kuhn. Remember, money isn't the most important thing in life, but it's like oxygen on the gotta have it scale. So thank you for putting some attention into this subject this week. Money can be a crazy subject. And we have some really good information for you today that's going to help you in your quest for greater prosperity. I'm from Qnity. We have most of the Qnity team joining us today. Part of what we're here to do is make what is confusing, complicated, overwhelming, and give you a clear path towards profitability and whatever financial success looks like for you. We lean heavily on our brain trust. This is about half the members of the brain trust. We're going to invite someone new to the brain trust here today. We're looking for light bulb moments. So put your light bulb moments in the chat as we go through today's session. Please be sure to use the chat. Michelle will monitor that very closely. Usually I can't watch the chat because I'm engaged with our guest and the topic, but so light bulb moments. This week's guest is Jackie. Jackie, I do not pronounce your name very well. So when we get you off mic, you can pronounce your last name. But I've worked with Jackie for years. Jackie's been part of the 2 to 10 project. She's part of the Lords Ladies group out in Philadelphia. So anyway, we'll get to Jackie in a minute. She's got a great share. Our last guest was Stacy Sobel. Part of what we covered in that session with Stacy was some recent data coming from the salon industry. Remember that past recordings from these sessions are in the Plan for Profits portal, and now we have them in YouTube. Need to talk about 2 to 10 for a moment. Invites went out to those that expressed an interest and also qualify. Remember, again, this is in Chicago on October 4th and 5th. There is a welcome reception on the night of Sunday, October 3rd. I think I've got a little more information on this, but I do want to create a bit of a sense of urgency around this, that if you do want to go to this event, you've been invited, you qualify and all of that, then sign up very soon because we will fill up. We officially sent out invites. We opened up enrollment. And I don't know what percentage of we're filled, but it's going fast. So make sure you sign up for that. 9Grid was furnished. That's a visual thinking tool. And there should be some light bulb moments today. And I'm going to get into a topic right away here. So before I bring Jackie on, I'm going to get to a topic that I get a lot of questions about. And in the profit curriculum, we do have some guidance on doing bonus plans for key members of the team, whether it's management or a top producer. So there already is some information in this curriculum about key employee incentive plans, but we're going to take it to another level today because I feel very compelled to address this subject. And it's the world I've been living in, especially over the last 10 days. It seems like, I think it's been about a half a dozen owners that I've been advising on an incentive plan for key members of their team. So it's a topic very top of mind for me. And I've got a lot to say on this subject. We're going to cover it briefly today. And then something that I did want to mention is that as far as our profit curriculum, we have a guided group, and it's starting, the kickoff is going to be in the next 2 weeks. We're going to have staggered kickoffs. So anyway, my reason for bringing this up right now is in this curriculum will be a much deeper dive into the topic that I'm going to get into today, which is key employee incentive plans. So heads up on that. Here's an example of one that we did, and this brought it down to very simple, monthly, quarterly, and annually bonus. But I'm now going to go off share, and I'm going to talk just about key employee incentive plans. Okay, so listen up. And I'm going to address this subject with a bit of a caution. And this is a caution because it's very likely and possible we might have an owner and one of these key employees on this call, or we might have key employee and not owner. And I want to make sure that everything is taken in context here, and I don't want to create want to do no harm. I want to educate. But when you talk about people's pay, including your pay, if you're on the call and you're a key employee, you might race to conclusions. And it's important that you approach this subject with the right sense of delicacy. I'll put it that way. So here is going to be a session. This is going to probably take me about 10 or 15 minutes. And I'm going to give you some keys to success in designing a key employee incentive plan. Now, so these are bonuses, they're incentives. What is a key employee? So a key employee could be, it could be a top producer, or it could be a member of the management team. And those are the two most likely scenarios. And depending on what type of position it is, and depending on the goals, the design of these type of incentive plans can vary greatly. Now, one of the things that is coming up in transition work that I have, when I'm working with owners and key employees, is we might get to a key employee incentive plan that could be part of a eventual ownership path as part of a transition out of the business for an owner. That's the case for some of these clients I'm working with, but not all. So these incentive plans have multiple different purposes, but more usually what it is, and that's the first step, is to really understand what is your motivator to do this. Is the motivation to keep top talent, or is it part of an owner buyout? So a smaller percentage of these will be an owner buyout, because when you move to equity, things get a lot more complicated, more serious, and the stakes are much higher. So while key employee incentive plans can be used for that, I'm not going to get too deep into that because that's even more specialized. So again, most important thing is usually from a plan design is to, what's the motivation? And it's usually to keep, reward, and incent top talent. It also might be a way for the owner to be able to step back a little bit more and to be able to be a little bit more aggressive in compensation, with the owner willing to step back a little bit more. So some of the things I'm worked on the last 10 days are relate with owners, keeping key people, but let's keep going here, okay? So here's some keys to success. Number one is you need some type of benchmark. There needs to be some type of quantifiable measurement in order to induce an actual incentive or bonus. And so these are performance-related metrics, which should be financial-related metrics. So the most natural place to go with this is profitability, and then sales would be the next one. But profitability would be the most common way. Now, that does open up a window of conversation as it relates to confidentiality, sharing financials with your team, and I'll get to that later. But you do need not only the measurement, but you also need to know a benchmark around that measurement. Now, when it gets to doing key employee incentive plans, the need for tight financial controls and tight finances, financial management escalates, because now you have other members of your team that are impacted by the financial performance of the business in a way that's very different than it had been in the past. We need a benchmark. Now, I want to get to something as it relates to profit-related benchmarks. For those of you that have been through our profit curriculum, you will note that we recommend breaking a profit and loss statement down into different mini profit segments within the P&L: gross profit, net operating profit, net income. So a common concern is the owner's pay, or things that the owner's taken out of the business. And that can become noise, and it really can create unnecessary angst and anxiety. The owner has the right to pay whatever the owner wants to pay themselves, and it doesn't need to be accountable to other people around that. So the best thing to do is to, if you're going to do an incentive-based profit plan, key employee incentive plan based on profit, make sure you're measuring the right profit number in the P&L. Net operating profit is a great opportunity to keep below that line things that relate with owner compensation, et cetera. So the employee in an incentive plan with this is based upon a function of net operating profit, or even better is something called contribution margin, which is even a skinnier P&L that's really brought down to the most controllable areas by that key employee. So you need a benchmark, and usually profitability for a key employee incentive plan should be number one. Sales would be number two. Sales would be more universal for everybody on the team, including a leader. But if a leader is part of a profit plan, profitability is going to come from sales and lowering expenses. So just by its very nature, sales are included. The next thing is this individual must be able to impact this number, and they must be able to see how they can impact this number. Third, and this is really important, is a key employee incentive plan needs to be self-funding. This can't be an incremental expense. It can't put you in a worse financial condition. It has to put you in a better financial condition. This is really a big one. And this also raises the need for some very strong financial modeling. So again, very clear on this, it needs to be self-funding. The bonus plan must be paid with incremental results as a result of the efforts by key employees. Third is it needs to be significant. It needs to be a meaningful number. And so that needs to be balanced among self-funding. We want to really reward these key employees, and we want to be able to be as aggressive as we can. One of the things that I like to say as a salon owner, when people would ask me for more money, my comment is we pay as much as we possibly can afford and no more. So you have to be able to draw the line there. Self-funding, significance, simplicity is big. Not only does it need to be simple and understandable, it needs to be easy to track, easy to measure, and that's a really big one. The next one is communication. And communication is vitally important. It seems so obvious, but I've seen in many cases that a bonus plan was rolled out and an employee wasn't hitting it and gave up, or there's something about the plan didn't understand. There wasn't this ongoing communication around it. So communication is vitally important. Here's a really big one, and I haven't talked about this before, okay? But I want you to listen very carefully to this one. A way that you can get aggressive and create a more significant type of bonus plan, and then also at the same time, really keep this key employee for multiple years, is to make a portion of it deferred. In other words, let's say 2021, there was a bonus plan for a key employee and it was significant. What could happen is half of that could be taken in cash and the other half could be put in a deferred account. This has some tax benefits too for the owner and the employee. And again, it allows the owner to be a little more aggressive in the pay if it's spread out over a number of years. So deferral, non-qualified, that's a tax term, means that you don't have to do this for the whole team. You can be selective in who you do this for, which is hence the idea of key employee. Having said that, it is good to have very specific criteria of what would make someone eligible to be in this category of a key employee, that they would be eligible for this type of program design. So as it relates to deferred, so there is this bonus plan, it's quarterly based on profits, and then an extra incentive if you hit the annual profitability. Profits are easy to measure, there's communication, the numbers are right, all of that kind of stuff, everything's beautiful, the employee earns a nice cash reward, and then they have, the other part of the award is deferred into the future. So deferrals usually are a minimum of 3 years, maybe up to 5 years. And then there's also different things that you can design as it relates to vesting. So they have to stick around a certain amount of time to get it, otherwise they forfeit part of it. So vesting is a whole nother piece to this. Other keys to success, this can't be status quo. This has to be for incremental results. And usually what we see, and I just heard this yesterday from somebody that we helped design one of these plans for. She said, it's amazing how this person has even greater attention on the business now. And they've stepped up to a whole nother level. And that's a very common thing that happens, is you really start to see individuals move beyond the status quo and find opportunities they hadn't seen before, because now they're even more motivated than they were before. Another big piece is this could be team. So this could be a leadership team. It could be a leadership team pool, or it can be for an individual. The word team-based pay in the salon industry has been interpreted to a certain brand with my good friend Neil Dukoff. He was very smart to name hourly compensation team-based pay. The reality, team-based pay can occur in any type of employment type environment, and to keep that in mind. Now, other keys to success, and I wonder if there's any comments, by the way, if I'm just talking out in thin air or whatever, but I get a lot of questions on this, and I wanted to give you at least an introduction today. Other pieces, and in many cases, you might already have what I'll call a short-term bonus plan. Which is really something that is based upon just current reality. If you hit a revenue goal, you get a bonus, hit a profit goal, you get a bonus, but it really isn't looking out into the future. And that's a big piece to designing a really, really good key employee incentive plan. It goes out into the long term. So I recommend having some short-term and long-term opportunities here. The next thing, and this is a little nugget that many don't talk about, is to use this as an opportunity to teach your leadership team, teach them how they can impact profitability, how they can impact sales. Make sure that you include education at the same time. And that was one of the reasons I created the profit course, is because we have key employees and they really don't understand profitability, P&L, financial literacy, developing a profit improvement plan, budgeting, financial rituals, cash flow management. So again, make sure that education happens at the same time, because it can be very counterproductive if someone's part of a profit-based bonus plan, but they don't understand what profitability means, what a P&L looks like, and all of that. I already mentioned the importance of tight financial controls, and I'm going to give you a real-world example of some of the decisions you might have to do if you upgrade your financial management. So I was on with someone yesterday that designed a plan. They rolled it out at the beginning of the year and it's working great. But one of the things they noticed is that each quarter, there could be some variation that just has to do with the timing of payroll or an inventory purchase. So what you might have to do is you might have to move to more accrual-based accounting. And if you don't know what that means, it means instead of including income and expenses when paid or incurred or received, it is when it actually is incurred. So that's a deeper dive, but my point here, the bigger point, is make sure your financial controls are in good shape. Next is consider the risk. So there's a risk of alienating key employee if for some reason they can't get the numbers, or if it wasn't paid on time, or it was, there was confusion. So it's better to not do it than to do it wrong. If you design one of these plans, it can do more harm than good if it's not very carefully designed and communicated, and education goes with it. So certainly consider the risk with this. Now, there's different types of plans. There's cash incentive plans. There's deferred, like I mentioned, or a combination of both. There's also something called phantom stock. Phantom stock is a way to allow a member of your team to participate as an owner and receive certain financial benefits as an owner without the legal form of transfer and ownership. And then, of course, there's stock-based incentive plans that would be for those that are open to or want to bring in owners. So anyway, that is what I have for you. And let me just see if there's any other points in this. Again, I get a lot of questions about this, and I would love to see if there's any feedback coming in, because I'm just talking. I feel like I'm just talking to myself here. But that's what I got. So let me see if there's anything in the chat here, and see if there's any questions or comments. If anybody has any comments or questions, it's a good time to ask before I bring in Jackie. So quick opportunity, and then Michelle, if someone does have a question, give me an alert, okay? Otherwise, I am going to see if we can welcome Jackie. All right, so Jackie, how are you today? Let's get you off mute.
Hi, Tom.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, please properly pronounce your last name.
Marcincavage.
Okay. Jackie, thanks for joining us today. I heard that there's so many different things that you and I could talk about, or with Rebecca, and I don't know how many other members of the team. I think Sam's with us today, and Rebecca, and hello to all you guys out there. So Lords and Ladies, if you haven't heard me talk about them, they're just outside Philadelphia. They have 7 locations. They had a very bold and innovative vision by the owner, Terry Durr, which is now realized, and that was to take 7 locations and spin them off to 7 owners and create a franchise company. So it's kind of a mouthful there, but I'm so proud of you guys. It's amazing what you've done. So you went from a 7 location salon business to a franchise company, and they're all owned by key employees. So talk about a key employee incentive plan. That's really amazing. So now, Jackie, your role has changed, sort of. You still serve as education, head of education for the franchise company that supports the franchisees. And I know you have some other hats to wear. Maybe we'll get to that a little bit later. So anyway, congratulations to you and the Lords and Ladies team on your great work and contribution. And we'll be seeing you at 2 to 10 again this year, I'm pretty sure.
Look forward to it.
Now, the topic today has to do with something that I found to be very innovative, and it relates to, and it happened during the pandemic. And there's a way for you to create an internship program that was a win-win. That was a win-win for the students, the schools, and your business. So take us through that, and then I'll jump in with some questions as we go. Okay.
So when we reopened, a lot of our local beauty schools that we hire assistants from could not offer clinical services. So that's part of them gaining hours and being able to practice the skills that they're learning in beauty school. Ashley Rivera, which I'm positive Tom has mentioned on calls, she does recruiting for us. Her and I are part of the advisory boards, and we sit in on them. They meet twice a year for all the beauty schools that we partner with. One vocational school that has 2 locations that 90% of our assistants are hired from due to this relationship that Ashley and I have formed with this particular vocational school. Ashley and I were on an advisory call in, I'd say, March or April. The instructors from the 2 campuses, 4 of the instructors from the 2 campuses had gone to the Pennsylvania State Board and inquired about their students being able to acquire state board hours in the salons. So obviously we wanted to take advantage of this. The school was super excited because, again, they send a large majority of students to us. So we could start training these assistants. They had to hit the 900. There were some guidelines that we had to follow, and that the student had to have 9. In the state of Pennsylvania, the state board requires 1,250 hours. So they had to be at the 900 hour mark, that they had already sent their paperwork in, and they were in the process of passing the written state board exam. They had to have good attendance. So it was awesome because the vocational school got right on board with this. They know the relationship we have with the cosmetology department. They gave the guidelines to the students, and we ran with it. All of our owners were ecstatic because we could now start training these assistants who would eventually become stylists with us on all of our methods and what we teach. So as all of you, I know most of you have a program when your students come out of school, you don't just toss them on the chair, you have some kind of education program. We were able to take advantage of this. The students came in, they had a preset schedule that Ashley worked out with the schools. They came into the salons and they were mentored by the owner, a stylist, one of our educators in the salon. We have a library of tutorial videos with all of our cutting techniques, color, highlighting, perming, all the things that they're taught in school that they could do step by step on mannequins in the salon location they work at. And again, under the direction of one of our owners, our educators, or a stylist in the location. So initially the state board passed for these students that they could acquire 350 hours towards their state board requirement. The instructors then went back to the state board and asked to pass 650 hours that could be acquired in the salon setting. The last update that Ashley and I heard, most of the girls that we encountered were already, like I said, they were already at that 900-hour mark. They had to be a senior in high school in order to be able to utilize this program with us. So it was really cool. And as I said to Tom yesterday, it will be interesting. So this group of girls, they are all entering our graduate program, which is our program, our training program for stylists prior to them offering services behind the chair. It starts tomorrow. So I definitely will report back. So it'll be interesting to see if there's a differential in the skill set that they're now starting with in the graduate program, as in groups past and years past, that girls didn't have this opportunity to start to learn these techniques with us.
So I want to address something right away. And Jackie, you're on a roll. I'm going to have you keep going. This is really amazing stuff. And we've had so many different sessions where we've talked about talent and the need for talent and finding good people and recruitment. And so when I heard about this a while ago, and I've been watching this, and it just seemed to be the right time to bring this up, because recruiting talent is not easy. Now, I'm going to address something to the group here. You're in the state of Pennsylvania. Not everybody in this call is in the state of Pennsylvania. Each state is different. So we may have some people, and if you're out there and you say, well, we can't do this in our state, please still listen, because there's seeds of this idea that are very, very powerful. Because Jackie, such a big piece of this is having them inside your four walls, you getting to know them getting to know you. And it has to help dramatically to not only find people, but to find the right people. So if your state doesn't allow this, don't hang up. Look at ways that you can do this. So anyway, Jackie, keep going on this. I love this. And go wherever you want to go next.
So I thought maybe I'd mention that what was really neat to see is that we franchised in September. So we had the owners, 5 of the owners still do hair out of the 7 locations. So it was really cool to see the owners get super involved with this, and they could take these girls under their wing, which was one of Terry's philosophies in business, is that the owner would be on site and the owner themselves would be able to get involved with the education process with these girls, as well as it really was nice to see some of these girls that are stylists with us that have maybe a year or less of experience with us that could go in and handhold these assistants. And it's so relatable to them because it's someone, they're the same age. So it's not like a parent speaking to you. So there were so many wins in so many different ways. The other thing I mentioned to Tom this morning is that these 2 campuses have a total of 4 instructors. The one instructor had reached out to Ashley and asked if she could attend our summer session of graduate classes, because she would like to learn our cutting technique and our highlighting technique and things that we, Terry actually came up with these techniques. She would like to learn them so she could take them back and start teaching them at the school level. So that was like the big win with the schools, as well as the schools have placement. They have to have a certain amount of a percentage of placement with students. So we were very fortunate that we have this relationship with the school and that we could help all these girls obtain their state board hours, and that they didn't have to wait because the schools close over the summer. Again, it's a vocational school that their high schools send them to. So if these girls wouldn't have had this opportunity with us, they would have had to either wait until school reopens in the fall and finish their hours in the fall, or they would have had to apply to finish their hours at a private beauty school, which, you know, there's a cost involved with that. So it was a really cool experience for us to be able to offer to these girls. And I feel as though you were talking about, you know, long-term employees. I feel like this will definitely help aid in that these girls will stay with us.
Also got to accelerate their time to when they actually take clients. You know, it's got to, and that's been a big concern. We hear that every year at 2 to 10. How do we get people on the floor quicker, but not sacrifice quality? Do you see this happening? It'll accelerate from formal hire date to when they actually get on the floor?
That's what I'm interested to see when our classes start tomorrow. So they have already had an introduction to these techniques. So now this will be it will be a refresher, as in the past, the classes that start tomorrow, it would have been their first opportunity to actually practice those techniques. They all are, once we hire the assistants, we add them into, and we give them access to our video library. But with school and being seniors and having outside activities, sometimes I feel as though they don't take the opportunity to go on to these step-by-step videos. So I feel like with the they had instruction with the videos, but they also had a mentor working with them. So if they had any questions, they could be addressed, and it was a great hand-holding experience. So I'm anxious to see, and I will report back as to, I feel as though it's going to be a lot more fluent, and they're going to be able to zoom through the program and get their models done faster.
Yeah, we need to have you back. We need to schedule to have you back. You tell us when the right time is, and we'll have you report back on this. Super curious now. All right, so back to these assistants. Give us an idea how much you pay them.
We start our assistants at $9 an hour.
Yep. Okay. We're having some comments come, and I love that Linnell Lynch is weighing in. Good morning, Linnell. You're up early. You're always up at these sessions. Why do I say you're up early? So, but Linnell, thank you. California, this is from Linnell Lynch. She owns 3 schools, 2 in California, and then the other one I think is in Kansas. I hope I'm right with that, Linnell. And Linnell is also the founding and key board member of Beauty Changes Lives. So very passionate about this subject. California here's what she said: California offers extras after 900 hours, yet only 10% of the program. Our students love it. All right, great. Kelly, thank you for weighing in from Wisconsin. Wisconsin has an externship program. We're in the process of onboarding our first students. So, Jackie, I gotta think again, you know, here we got California, we got Wisconsin, you know, Pennsylvania. I talked to Nicole Cumberlander earlier this morning. They're doing something they're on the school side. They're doing something very similar, initiated from the school side. They had it before, but now they're really starting to utilize it. But we'll stay away from the actual eligibility of hours and just the core idea of getting somebody in your business, not only interacting with their peers, which you said maybe a year into it, but also an opportunity to interact with the owner. So whether there's the formality of a program like this, me personally, I just don't see enough of that go around. I see, and I'm going to call out some of you owners here, forgive me, you can get mad at me later, but complaining about recruitment, but not really doing the things that are necessary to recruit. and getting students in your business, seeing what your MO is, seeing if it's a place that will fit is just huge. So I congratulate you on creating the structure around this. And you have this steady pipeline of talent, which truly allows for a very scalable and profitable model. It's awesome. So let me just see what else I've got from this here. Advisory board. Tell me about that a little bit. And should some of our folks on this call also look into being an advisory board with local schools?
I would definitely suggest doing that. I feel as though in the state of Pennsylvania, I don't know how each state operates, but in the state of Pennsylvania, any beauty school, whether it's a vocational school or a private school, they have to have 2 advisory meetings per year. The notes from the advisory meeting get sent to the state board, and you have to have so many attendees at the advisory meeting. So there's other salons that attend the advisory meetings as well. Ashley, like I said, Ashley does a fabulous job with making sure, like, she communicates with the public schools, private schools all the time, and make sure she follows up and is consistent with that. So we do attend every single school's advisory meeting. So it gets to be a lot depending on how many beauty schools are in the area. So absolutely, because the teachers of the schools will ask what's lacking in industry. So they're asking, like, when the students come to us, what do we see as, the salon, what's lacking? Is it men's hair cutting? Is it perming? And what would we do differently? And what are our suggestions for the schools when newer things are being introduced as like we do a whole thing with balayage, and we have been very hand-holding with these schools into offering stylists going in as guest artists at the school level to show them the techniques that we train on. So it's been absolutely advantageous. And yes, I feel as though it 100% helps with Ashley in recruiting and the steady pipeline. So 100%, any way that you can get involved in the school, because there's so much competition, again, based on the number of schools in your area, that it does give us a point of difference.
Huge point of difference, and access and intimate relationship and giving back. It just works on so many different levels. So I was out at your place, was it 2 weeks ago now? I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. And you guys are killing it. And all 7 locations, some are growing faster than the others, but the growth is amazing. And a big part of it is that your ability to retain, because you do a great job of retaining your team, but then this recruitment piece, you're solving a major issue that we have talked about so many different times, especially this year. Last year, most of our roundtables were really more about survival, and silver linings and innovating and all that. But now we've moved into such a heavy focus on the whole recruitment piece. So this is very, very timely, and you guys are doing such a great job. The other area, I'm going to plant a seed with everybody. The seed is being planted, team. Okay. Another very unique feature to Lords and Ladies is they have a Medi-Spa. And the Medi-Spa is something that they basically outsource. So Jackie, without getting into this topic, let's do like a 2-minute just overview of your Medi-Spa structure. And in the future, perhaps we'll talk about it, or maybe we'll talk about it at 2 to 10 or at some other point. And guys, keep in mind, part of the reason I'm having her talk about a Medi-Spa is not so much that bringing a Medi-Spa, but it's unique partnership opportunities with your space. So Jackie, give us just like a minute or two, just, your whole Medi-Spa in your 7 locations, partners and all that.
So each of our locations has a med spa where we offer eyebrow waxings up to a nurse injector on site. We have a medical director, a doctor, who oversees the medical portion of it. Depending which location and the size of the space, we have anywhere from 3 to 5 med spa rooms. So we have licensed estheticians, again, offering a variety of services. It works extremely well in our business. Most clients are all shared clients, so they come in and get nails done, hair done, facials, massages, microneedling, injections. We love it, and we acquired our med spa with a new medical director around the same time that we were franchising. It just kind of happened like that. And so now our med spa is managed by LL Salon Group, which Tom's familiar with. So Rebecca, I know she has spoke, so most of you know her, and myself. So our med spa is running the same way as the salons with our hiring and our education. And so it works extremely well. And we tend to have a lot of happy employees.
Nice, nice. And you can stay in your lane too, because the hair business is enough. You add spa business, it has its own specialty. And what you've done is you've really decided what business you really want to be in and what you're really good at, and then partner with others. And so it's truly a business within the business. So Jackie, I could go ahead.
Harry's philosophy was to create a one-stop shop that the client could come in and get all the services they need in one building. Sorry, yeah. I just wanted to add that. No,
it's great. Great. There it is. Whoops. I've got my new blurred background. So there is your $1 million light bulb. Let's give Jackie a virtual round of applause. Jackie, everybody out there is giving you applause. Thank you. This is great stuff. And we'll have to have you back to tell us how this goes. Keep in touch. And you tend to be on every week. So maybe one of these weeks, if you want to give an update, just send me an email before and I'll give you the mic for a few minutes just for an update. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Great job. Thanks for today. All right, guys, let me just see what else I have here. My mind's just spinning with this. I love this stuff. All right. So, I got to skip ahead because I've got a couple other things I got to make sure I cover today. Okay. So we have our profit course is something that was created pre-pandemic, and it's been a very, very successful course. And it's been a roadmap for many of you that really wanted to upgrade your financial management. One of the things that I have noticed is that implementation of the things we teach in the profit curriculum comes better when there's a little bit more guidance. This is a self-directed class or course. And so one of the things we're going to do is we are going to do a guided group where I'm personally going to lead a group through this course and have guests and get deeper into topics. This is the schedule. And so this is our profit course. And it is going to, the first module will be completed by August 1st. We have a kickoff next Monday, and we're going to have other kickoff sessions that are welcome and orientations. So if this is something that you want to be interested, if you're interested in, you should sign up very soon. And again, we really don't start until August 2nd. And if you can't make these dates, that's fine, because you'll complete the modules on your own. And these dates, these Mondays at noon Central Time, will bring life to it. I'll have guests, we'll go deeper into things. But again, if you can't do these group sessions, you can still go through the course and get all the benefits of it, because these sessions will be recorded. Some of the things that we're going to do is I am going to be releasing some new and very unique P&L formats that still fit with industry template. but also integrate Qnity's 5 functions. We're also going to go deeper into the subject of key employee incentive plans. So this is a great opportunity if you want to either you or members of your leadership team be part of this program. You should sign up soon. The Lords and Ladies franchisees, most of them, I believe, are going to be going through this course. We have several of our clients going through this course. So again, it's an existing course. Now, here's the deal. If you've already completed this course and if you've already signed up for it, you are welcome to just join these sessions without a fee. If you haven't signed up for the course, you haven't been part of it, then of course there is a fee. You can go to our website and sign up. And if Aaron and Michelle have anything they want to add about the Guided Profit Group, because I missed something. Michelle, is there anything I missed?
I don't think so, Tom. I think you got everything. I do have the link in the chat if you want to get the information from the website. You can also email me directly. Those of you who have already emailed me directly will be receiving individual invitations in the coming day or so.
Okay, great. Next subject is 2 to 10. As I mentioned earlier in the call, invites have gone out. If you are multi-location and you haven't received an invitation and you want to, please reach out to me directly. If you have received an invitation or check your email box, these went out, I think it was at least a week ago, and we are deep into enrollment. We need to see if you've been invited. We are going to hold your spot a bit longer, and then we're going to open it up to other potential participants. So we have a welcome reception on Sunday, October 3rd, kickoff toast. Then each day we have the signature 2 to 10 format. Monday is a plenary session with the group. Luke Carlson's going to come back and go through some specifics from the fitness industry. We have several other guests that I haven't announced yet. So Monday morning is going to be chock full, and we're going to all be together as a group. We're going to go through the annual study. And then on Monday afternoon, we break into roundtables based upon the 5 functions. So you'll have the opportunity to be in a roundtable room with either marketing, education, human capital, operations, or finance. And then there's a dine and discover where we all dine together. We fan out into Chicago area restaurants. Tuesday, we come back together and have roundtables again with conversation starters. It's very peer driven. Very few sponsors, very gritty, very personal, very intimate. We're limited to 150 people, and it will be awesome. We're excited to get back together. So if you received an invitation, go ahead and sign up very soon. You can also book a room there too. We also have emerging leaders at 2 to 10. So certainly if you or members of your team are under the age of 35, you're welcome at 2 to 10. And not only are you welcome, you also have the opportunity to participate in what we call our emerging leaders group, which is an opportunity to connect with people from your generation and also to be part of a competition that's sponsored by Qnity and Salon Today. One of the most recent thing that the emerging leaders did, this was 2 years ago, was a segment on recruitment, and the ideas were amazing. So also, all right, so before we wrap up, remember Qnity in action. If you don't have a coach, we've got great coaches that are here to help you. Carrie, Heath, Jody, also Candace Gliata. We will have a school roundtable coming up in a little over an hour. If you're on this roundtable, the school roundtable is going to cover many of the same subjects, so it might be duplication. And I always love ending with this. If you want to fly, you have to give up the things that weigh you down. And so anyway, I hope you are having a good summer, everybody. We are on again next week. Jackie, thank you so much for your contribution. Michelle, also for all your work getting this thing going, as well as Aaron, who both these guys behind the scenes help make this happen. So anyway, let me just see who's on the call. I'm going to give a shout out to participants before we wrap up. And it is an opportunity for me to say hi to Ashley and Britt and Christine, Colleen, Connie, hello, Diane and Jan. Good morning, Jana. Hi, Justin. Hi, Karen Deanda, Carrie, Kate, Kelly P, Laura Prow, a new member of our team. Laura, great to have you involved. Leslie, Louisa. Hi, Louisa. Hello, Linnell. Mark, good to see you on here. Hi, Megan, Melinda, Melissa, Nina, Robert. Normally, Robert, you're in the chat. You're quiet today. Robert Cromings, what's going on? Talk to me. Then we have Roman, and we have Sam from Lords and Ladies. We have Tina, and we have Trent. So awesome. Guys, thanks for joining us today, and we will see you next week, and we appreciate all of you. Bye.